This is my 6-foot-long mini Monster Aquascape, which is currently home to over $11,000 worth of rare and exotic aquarium fish. And today, we're going to be adding even more aquarium fish. Well, right after I do this much needed water change. Welcome back to Obsidian Exotics, and behind me is officially the first tank of my new house. Now, this has been set up for about 3 or 4 months now, and I never really got around to actually making a video on it. I basically just set it up, did my very first aquascape, and then yeah, chucked some plants in there, chucked over $11,000 worth of fish in there and sort of just forgot about it. And I've just noticed that it's gotten pretty bad now, where there's a lot of detritus build up. I don't know if you can quite see, but yeah, all the rocks are full of dirt, and yeah, the plants have been moved around too. The fish have decided that they don't like the Java fern at the back, they wanted it on the side. So today, what we're going to be doing is basically going through all of it and trying to clean it up a bit more and make it a bit more presentable. Because, you know, it is my main display tank that's inside the house, and I do want it to look nice. There is a whole sitting area based around this tank, so I have to make it presentable. So as I go through this, hopefully we can get a bit more footage of all these cool fish that's in there, because most of the time they're all hiding. But yeah, I guess I'll stop talking and get straight to the video.
Alright, so I usually follow the exact same steps every single time I do a water change on any tank. I'll start off by scraping all the algae off the glass. Once I've done that, I'll start moving some of the cover glass so I can access the built-in sump at the back. Then I'll bring out my perfectly normal sized sheet of filter sponge and cut it with my perfectly normal sized work knife so that I can make a perfect replacement sponge for the sump. Then I'll get myself a bucket, so, you know, I can pretend that somehow I'm not going to make a huge mess while taking all the old sponges out. Now, if you're curious how a built-in sump looks, let me give you guys a quick look.
So this chamber here is where I took all the sponges out of. The second chamber here is all the filter media, and then the heaters are just right in the middle there. And right after that is where the pump is and where the water comes back out to the tank from. You can see how much of a mess I've already made just from taking the sponges out. All the detritus that was on the sponges have started kicking up into the tank. But I guess we'll start siphoning all the water out. So I'm actually going to do a pretty significant water change on it, because I do have the 3-stage carbon filter and I can match the temperature to whatever the room temperature is. I can go through and do pretty much almost an 80% water change to try and get most of these tannins out too. This log's been in there for a couple months now, so there's a lot of tannins in the water. And yeah, there's a lot of detritus, so we'll go through, get started, and I guess you guys can just watch a time lapse of me doing that. Alright, so I'm going to let that drop down to about 30% of water, and in the meantime I'm going to try and rearrange these plants that they've decided to move around. I keep putting them at the back, but I guess they prefer to have the plants at the front or something, or they just want to get in there, so they just move everything out of the way. But hopefully this time it stays there. We'll see what happens. I wonder how many Red Bulls I can actually have before I get a sponsorship from Red Bull. Maybe one day. Alright, we've done a pretty small water change there. You can actually start to see some of the fish in there. See if I can get you in there and show you this royal panac that's just hiding in the corner. You see him there? It's probably the first time I've seen him since I've chucked him in there 2 months ago, but barely sort of see him. If he comes out, I'll get more footage. But you can actually see the aquascape that I've done. Now, before you guys lose your minds that I'm doing a massive water change, the filter system's still completely underwater, so bacteria is still perfectly fine. And this is pretty common practice for breeders to do. You know, it's partially my fault for letting it get this bad that I needed to do such a big water change, but it's not going to harm the fish at all. I can actually see the colors on the flagtail now because the tannins in the water, I just made everything so dim. But yeah, I guess once we fill it up, hopefully it'll look a bit lighter. So you can see the aquascape's looking a bit bare at the moment because most of these Nubius nana petite isn't really surviving that well. I think it's because of the tannins. It's not really letting any of the light penetrate down low into the tank, so it's probably struggling a little bit. But once the tannins are flushed through a few times, I think they will do much better. Because the Java fern's still alive, even though it keeps getting moved around. But yeah, I guess we're ready for water now. So the main reason I can get away with doing such huge water changes is because I can run straight tap water into my tank and regulate the temperature out of the sink. Now that's all because I'm using this 3-stage carbon filter. Now, if you don't know what it is, I've done a video on this a couple weeks ago. If you want to go through and check it out, I'll explain exactly what it is and what it does. But yeah, having this has made my life so much easier, and basically just plug in the hose to it and we can just start filling it up straight away. I guess I'll sort of go by hand feel as to what the water temperature is in the tap. So, you know, open it up, let it run through for a bit, and you'll feel, you know, what the temperature is of the water that's coming out. And once it's adjusted to roughly, say, 28 degrees, which is what that would have been, then I'll just run it straight into the tank and just let it fill up. Now, while the tank's filling up, I'll give you a quick rundown of all the current residents of this tank. So, we've got 2 platinum Senegal biches, 3 Tagalsi biches, 4 fire eels, 1 flagtail Prochulotus, 1 L600 leopard cactus pleco, and last but not least, my boy Terry, who's a L190 Royal Panac, which brings the total value of all the fish to just over $11,000. Now, quick disclaimer, all these prices are for Australia only. I'm well aware that they're way cheaper in every other country, so don't try and fight me in the comments. Anyway, back to the rest of the video. So it's been about 24 hours since I did that water change, and the tank's looking a lot clearer now, and you can actually see the colors now because all the tannins are out of the water. So I guess it's finally time to add our new fish into the tank. And what I got is 6 albino heckelei. I don't know if you can quite see the fish in there, but these guys are super cool. And given the fact that I've had issues with detritus in this tank, I knew I definitely wanted some sort of Geophagus species or some sort of bottom dweller that'll go through and sift the sand for me, or sift the gravel in this case. And I still wanted it to be something a bit more premium, not your average fish that I just wanted to chuck in there, given it's already got very exotic fish in there. So I guess adding these guys in there will bring the total of the tank to around $12,000 now, which is pretty crazy because I really only ever see 3 fish in here. I see the 2 platinum Senegals, the flagtail, and occasionally I might see the Royal Panac, but the other stuff are always hiding. At least these guys will actually swim around in the tank and give me something to look at. I can't wait for them to properly color up too. I'll put up some photos of adults that I've had. I actually had a colony of about 16, I think, and they were super colorful. I just wasn't quite the direction I was going in at the time, so I ended up reselling them. But I guess going forward, it'll be cool to have a small colony going if they start breeding. Obviously, this won't be their long-term tank. I'll actually upgrade this in the future, but this is a bit of a grow-out tank plus somewhere I can enjoy them while I'm at home. Anyway, that's enough talk. Let's get them in the water and really enjoy these fish.
Alright, so I was meant to post this video almost 2 months ago now, but hey, sometimes life just gets in the way. Anyway, everyone has settled in really well and the tank has become a lot more active since adding the albino echolite. So I'll leave you guys with some really cool footage I've managed to get over the past few months. And as always, thank you so much for all your support, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.